So I'm not much of a political commentator, or I don't know much about Tectone, but Tectone's been on the news, on this Twitter, on the streamers news lately about how he and Pinky Chew were in a court case regarding like defamation, where Pinky Chew, if I remember correctly, made accusations regarding SA, about Tectone and him being a doing like SA activities, and that's the most I know of. They're in a court case regarding SA content and SA allegations, and just labeling them wrong. So my understanding from this is the fact that this was a he's not criminally charged to be a person who is acting on SA activities, but let's hear about him because he apparently the court case is over. The civil case, which has a lower barrier. Let me before I talk out of my butt. How much? Actually, hold on. How much evidence do you need for a civil case? How much proof do you need for a civil case? In most cases, civil cases, the plaintiff must provide their case by which means it showing it is more likely than not or greater than their claims are valid. The 51% standard requires just enough evidence to tip the scales of justice in the plaintiff's offer for a SA case. In sexual assault cases, the amount of proof needed depends on whether the case is criminal or civil. So in a criminal sexual assault case, the prosecutor must prove the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. So that means you need stronger proof of you need stronger evidence to prove that you were a victim of SA. But in a like civil, it depends on whether it's civil, because like civil cases require more likely than not, or 51% proof rate. So that's like, it's at minimum, if you're 51% right in the civil case, you win. If it's a criminal case, you have to show beyond a reasonable doubt. So that's what it is. That's how much proof you need. But in this case, for the civil case, which is a lower bar of proof requirement, he lost. Let's hear from him himself.
A lot of people want to act like they're lawyers these days, okay? They do. What is a civil case? Spoiler alert, guys. I lost a civil case. I did. Hey, I did. And we're going to talk about, I lost. It's true. And we're going to talk about everything. What is a civil case? So a civil case is essentially a vibe check to where they see, how were this guy's vibes? Unfortunately, I'm fucking retarded. Yeah, L for me. I'm fucking retarded, and I run my mouth way too much. One thing that I've learned, and throughout this slideshow, there's going to be consistent change. I am going to start tweeting 95% less. I uninstalled Twitter on my phone, and I'm not going to tweet for 1 week. Yep.
I hope that's true.
A civil case isn't determined by proof. It's determined by vibes. And usually the way that court cases work for like criminal cases is you need to have proof to.
Yeah, so by vibes you mean like it's more likely than not. So it doesn't. You don't need it to be 99% sure. You don't need it to be beyond a reasonable doubt. You need one more often than it is not. So like 51, you need a 51% like approval rating to get your pass essentially. So
to prove that someone's guilty, but in a civil case, I needed proof to prove that I'm innocent, which was hard, and I'm a bastard.
Because like, because that's the thing though. Because I'm wondering if like, in a civil case, you need
I needed proof to prove that I'm innocent.
Yeah, because like from my understanding, Tectone, like he is publicly stating that he tweets on Twitter his opinions more than he should, and there's enough, and I guess there's enough tweets and receipts to show that Tectone was a bad character in this instance. Because like I think the civil court case is whether or not he was a bad character and bad towards Wtphu. And apparently he lost a vibe check because he has enough receipts to say X two doubts.
Which was hard, and I'm a bastard. So essentially, the court decided that I'm a vibe rapist. Yeah, and my vibes were fucking terrible.
I don't know if vibe rapist is the technical term, but the court, it just sounds.
So the thing that I learned is, Tectone, stop fucking tweeting, because my vibes are fucking terrible. And I don't think I've ever been on Twitter and done something where I was like, you know what? I'm gonna tweet something that's positively gonna affect my life. But yeah, the vibes are fucking off. The vibes are off. All right, so I lost the vibe check. It's true. Next up.
Okay, so yeah, so these are clips that are taken from his stream, essentially, where he was going over the court case because he let his audience know that he was under a civil case regarding like Wtphu and her allegations, to where essentially I think one of the main questions was was he a bad person towards Pinky, and the vibes based on his Twitter tweets were like yes, based on her accounts, yes. That is like funny within its own way, but it also sucks. Losing the vibe check, saying are you going to be a good fit? Were you a good fit? Were you an antagonizer of Pinky's life? He lost at that. But there's probably more from the stream that I don't. Could I actually? Let's do some investigations here. I'm not gonna watch the entire whole thing. I'm not gonna watch the entire stream, but essentially, all these clips that I'm gonna be going through are from his one big stream, regarding the civil case. So, I'm not gonna watch it, but I will quickly put this in the description so that people who want to know about it can look it up, because that is fair. Where's the button for that? Where's the button to do that? Well, that's not important right now, because what's important is to go through these like few things, is because for all intents and purposes, I don't think it doesn't seem, civil cases doesn't mean you go to jail. Actually, let's look that up. Hold on. Civil cases mean jail? Generally generally does not result in jail time. Disputes between private parties. Focus on compensation. Contract fulfillment or property disputes. So, my understanding is that because this won't be going to a criminal case, as far as we know, no jail. You just have to pay the legal. He just has to pay for Pinky's legal fees because he lost the civil case, and the civil case requires a lower barrier of entry for proof of her statements. Anything else? Loss of vibe check. He hasn't been stripped of his 2A right. I don't know what that is. Civil court is in a highly biased country with an activist judge. This is unfortunately the expected outcome. A man defending himself from allegations is framed as harassment. When a woman makes these allegations, is framed as empowerment. It is essentially guilty until proven innocent, and you cannot use almost all the evidence to prove innocence, because anything that can make the female accuser look bad or non-credible is often admissible depending on the judge. So
a lot of people want to act.
So who knows? Who knows what happened?
Lawyers these days.
So who knows like what actually went on? I don't know the kind of judge that he had. I don't know what kind of person he had talking for his case, but from that small statement, this is, I don't know. There's not a lot I can really say because I haven't had a chance to really look into this, but this is in my feed. This was like something that seems interesting. So, at the very least, he's not going to jail. And I do know it's rough where he fought for a person who is fighting against allegations against his character. This is a fight for his character that's happening a post Amber Heard environment to where I think Johnny Depp essentially did Johnny Depp win the case? He awarded Depp. Depp sued his wife for defamation over the opinion article she wrote for Washington Post, alleging she was the abuser, though it did not mention him by name. Heard countersued. What was the outcome? Who won? Judge awarded Depp $10 million in compensation, compensatory damage, and $5.5 million. Who won? Legal victory for Johnny Depp after he and Amber Heard found liability for defamation. Okay, so even though they were so allegedly, his case, because we are in a post Amber Heard world where Johnny Depp is defending himself, and in this case, Tectone is trying to defend himself, and in this civil lawsuit, he lost the fight of who defamed who, and I guess he didn't have enough receipts to prove that he wasn't an agitator to Pinky. I don't know what I'm talking about, but in the same way, in this case, I guess Johnny won, was awarded significant more damages than meaning a legal win to Johnny Depp. However, for Tectone, I don't think that happened at all, to where he lost the civil case, which is rough. There's also more tweets that I saw as well. It was a whole thing. It was a whole thing within my feed about Tectone's situation. Let's see. I'll look at this in a minute. Tectone closed statements after losing the court case. Let's hear what he has to say after losing a civil case, to where he was in the 49% of being wrong, therefore he lost, and so he has to pay for her legal fees, I believe. But essentially, he lost, and this is his closing statement.
This will be my one and only comment, and then I am moving forward for the rest of my life. Okay? I'm going to say one comment. obviously I have to be very careful with what I say. Addressing the elephant in the room, I lost the civil case. I did. That sucks. Didn't go the way I wanted, is what it is. But I do genuinely want to respect the court's decision. At this point, I'm not sure what route I want to take from here, but I believe even though I lost the case, I do believe that this still gets me to where I want to go, which is for all parties to simply move on.
Yeah, that is a good point.
That's pretty much all I want is for every.
That is a good point though, because like now that civil case is ordered, the civil case is officially over. There should be no other reason for Pinky to go back at him for these kind of situations. Wait, hold on. Can you be tried twice for the same civil case? You cannot be tried twice for the same civil case. Principal Cole as res judicata, which prevents litigating claims that have already received final judgment, while the constitutional protection of double jeopardy only applies to criminal cases. Civil law prevents plaintiffs from suing for the same issues more than once. That's really good. That's really good for his instance because is this one? That is a good situation for like Tectone at least because the fact that this civil case is over means that he can't be that for the subject of this civil case that Pinky has on him, he can't be tried for the same thing anymore. That means he can't be bothered about it anymore in the legal space. That means he can, like, in a sense, breathe that this is finished, this is done.
Everybody to go their separate ways, to be able to move on and find solace and peace in their life. Genuinely. I understand that things are going to be an uphill battle for a while, and that's okay. But I will say, I do want to respect the court's decision. Do I think the American justice system has failed me? Yes. And I do believe in an America where consent cannot be retracted 1 year later. However, at the end of the day, I want to move forward with my life. And so I am going to admit that I fucked up. However, at the end of the day, I want to move forward with my where consent cannot be retracted. I do believe in an America where consent cannot be retracted 1 year later.
And like that's the thing though, that's really crazy to hear, is that from what I'm hearing, and again I'm hearing about this like bits and pieces because I'm not completely invested, but I'm invested enough to hear what has to be said. Because from my understanding is that it sounds like he lost the battle where Pinky claims he forced her for a sexual activity, even though there were receipts within their messaging saying that she was the one suggesting it. And you can look it up on Twitter as well, and I think the documents are out in public. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, and again, it's really funny where like some of these things were like really blown out of proportions because of Miskiff, which is wild. Because like Miskiff also like went on stream to talk about these informations as well, and I'm not sure how I feel about Miskiff because he alone is trying to throw people, trying to like magnify other situations like this because he's currently because he wants to distract people from his own thing going on with Emeru. Let's see, Pikachu, Tectone. Can I find it correctly? Yeah, because like there's posts about like Mizkif calling out Tectone for downplaying the significance of the protective order, which ultimately all like Tectone wants to do is to stay away from her as much as he can. Is he in the lies? Hold on, I need to look at this up. Are you registered if you lose a civil case? Does a civil case make you register as a? Yeah, no, it's like that's crazy thing. Some people are automatically calling him an SA offender because of this like allegation from Pikachu, and even though and it's like hold on, let me just see if I can show this. Well, I can't really show it yet, but you're generally not, but allegedly, you are generally not required to register as an SA offender simply by losing a civil case. It's SA offender consequences. Registration is a consequence of a criminal conviction, but this is a civil conviction, which is very different. So it's hard to say, but you can the public opinion can call you an SA offender, but you're not technically, but you're not legally required to be registered. If that's the case, I honestly don't know what that means either. Which is, again, all this is so crazy.
However, at the end of the day, I want to move forward with my life.
Yeah, that means you can move on.
I am going to admit that I fucked up. I should not have tweeted that much. Straight up.
Yeah, because from what he's saying, he's attributing the loss in the civil case because of the receipts from Twitter. So if you separate your Twitter life from your real life, you should be relatively okay. Because like the devil advocate would suggest, the intrusive thought would suggest that if you don't say anything that is public for everyone to look at, they won't know certain things. If you don't share your DMs and you share your thoughts, then no one's going to know about them.
I think I should not have tweeted that much. I was tweeting like crazy. I hope people can understand why I was tweeting that much. But at the end of the day, I should have practiced self-control. I fucking got out of hand. This shit consumed my fucking brain. And it sucked, the things that I was being called. So I tweeted a lot. Going forward, I'm just like not going to tweet. Like barely
Good
at all.
for you, man.
I uninstalled Twitter. I'm not going to tweet a single time for another week. But I think what I learned is I need to stop fucking tweeting so much. And boys, let's just move
that
the
got
fuck
you in
on.
trouble,
To
yeah.
my lawyers, sorry, I should have shut the fuck up. And that's it.
If that's his big takeaway, then that's really it. Because like, again, like because it's official that he lost the civil case. He is not required to be registered as an SA offender because ultimately he him and his legal team firmly believe, from my understanding of the whole scenario, because I'm only hearing droplets here or there. I got the Costco sampler of what the whole thing is about, and what it sounds like is that an agreement between Pinky Chew and Tectone was made, and then because she didn't like how the relationship was at the end, she, for whatever some reason, compelled Pinky Chew to then make defamatory comments regarding Tectone being a rapist, and being a rapist, and like being someone who forced her to do things. And there's receipts on the internet, because like the court documents are like publicized. There's court documents indicating that there's conversations about it that don't indicate that he forced her. There was a conversation where I guess she suggested to do a sexual like activity. But again, like ultimately, like his closing statement: "Don't tweet so much." You watch the full stream, and he effectively hit on every single break the glass strategy, right upward, grifting, deflecting, muddy the waters. What can Grok do? Tectone case involves the streamer and his ex-girlfriend Pinky Chew, who filed a suit alleging sexual assault and stalking. 10-year protective order. Yeah, because, like, let's see, bearing a firearm. Wait, what? Barring firearm possession for Tectone and barring contact, which he probably does not want to be associated with it anymore, because, like, she's been cancerous to him. He must pay her legal fees, civil matter, not criminal, no convictions or jail time. He respects the decision but feels the system failed him. Aims to move on. Make the oh no, this guy Intolerance is talking to Grok GBT about this. So let's take all this with a cup of salt, because things can be wrong about this. Because like when he says the justice system failed him, I think he's referring to the facts where there's picture proof. There's messages proving the intentions of private behaviors. There's proof of Pinky Chew making comments regarding sexual like activities, but and if they did do it, then that's for them to know. But for her to then say, "Oh, I changed my mind," I would like to believe that most people, I'm not saying that he did or didn't, but I'm under the impression that most men should be, what is the word? Respectful if the partner says no. And that's the hope, and that's the dream of it, right? But in this case, who knows? Details remain limited without a full transcript, and allegedly the full transcript is out for it. Let me see. Tectone civil case full transcripts. Yeah, so yeah, that's the thing. Like, so essentially, Pinky Chew cried wolf, and Pinky Chew cried wolf, and the court believed her based on what she has, and everything that is the receipt of what Tectone has said has been used against him. That's what essentially what has happened, and that's rough, buddy. But yeah, no, like again, I'm a tourist. I'm getting sampler size. I'm getting Costco samplers of what's been going on with Tectone. It is rough that he has been going through this, but ultimately the fact that this civil case is the civil case is finished means he can move on from it. That means nobody's legally allowed to re-pursue him for the same things. So as even in simile can pursue him for similar things. So Pikachu can't pursue him regarding this again, which is great, I think, ultimately. But I feel like everybody still sucks in this scenario. It's just been something that I got in my in my samples. Okay, yeah, another one of his clips. Another clip regarding like one of his claims.
Suspended. I have no. I made this one time, and I'm gonna move on, guys. There was already an 8-month police investigation on me. They found nothing. The case was suspended. I have no criminal charges. I was not convicted of any crime because I didn't fucking do anything. So no, I'm not going to jail. No whammies, no whammies, no whammies. We're not going to jail.
Again, because even though a confirmed decision by a civil case does not automatically translate to a court case until a criminal charge. Criminal charges mean you go to jail. Civil cases don't do that to you.
We're not going to jail. I'm not in jail. I'm not a fucking criminal because I didn't fucking do anything. They let you stream from jail. I made this one time, and I'm gonna move on, guys.
And it's crazy to hear.
An 8th.
Just because like it's so wild because everything about this is because Pikachu made claims. She went to certain people, the right lawyers, did the right jobs. It's Tectone's fault mostly for tweeting so much, and it was used against him in the court of law. Let's see. It's leftist with severe derangement. I'll most likely like him. Yeah, Miskiff and Pinky are. Miskiff is mostly using this. He's magnifying Tectone mostly to distract others of his currently ongoing case with Emeru. And I feel like Emeru, this would be an instance where Emeru will win. Because Miskiff. I have a bad vibe check about Miskiff. I have a bad thing about Miskiff. Tectone should let this go at this point. The verdict has been given, and he's got to move on with life. Except he's trying to appeal the. Is he trying to appeal the verdict? He quite literally said that he hopes both parties will move on from this. He literally said this was only comment and is moving on. Injustices, I love the fact that you want the injustice to be remedied, but it doesn't change the damage that it has done. OJ was only held liable in civil. Wait, what? That's funny. But yeah, but like it's crazy to where, again, I'm a tourist. I don't know a whole lot about the legal process of this. I don't know much about civil or criminal cases like these. I'm just a tourist, but I'm just sharing my opinion because Tectone's been in my feeds a lot because I also watch Criminal Mindset, Legal Mindset, I look at Asmongold. Asmongold is like controversial sometimes, But just because there's more salt, it's I don't have a good allegory of this, but there's some things that he says that are correct, and there are some things that I would wish he would filter, but otherwise, that's like most people, right? That's like you eating a McDonald's sandwich, and you know there's so much chemicals in there that it could be bad for you, but you eat it anyway because sometimes you're okay eating a McDonald's burger, but you would really prefer the turkey and rice that you have at home. It's not the best, but there are definitely things that you can stomach. Let's see what's going on with the whole Mugen thing, because I also follow Mugen. Mugen, I like Mugen. He's strong. He makes some big claims. What was said by Mugen on the 29th? Okay, so let's watch the video because let me see. So this is based on the Mugen tweets. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, that's quite the documentation. Finds that there are reasonable grounds to believe the respondent committed one or more of the following offenses: sexual assault and stalking. Okay. Like, that's the craziest thing. Okay, so like, let's see. This you? The guy who molested woman. Oh god, that's not aging well. Mike from PA, you are rough. The guy who molested a woman without consent is calling me a rapist because I didn't jeopardize the victim's lawsuit when she asked me not to tell anyone. What the fuck is this?
That's fine. I think that's fine. So if a guy pays for my tab,
I'm getting your attention. I feel like I touched a vampire touching a boy one.
can I help you?
I think they want to go in.
Okay. That's fine.
That's rough. Okay, but wait, is this the findings? So here's the thing, this whole thing, I don't know if this is a picture from the transcripts themselves, but the court finds him, they have reasonable grounds to believe the respondent that they committed one of the following offenses against Pinky, which is sexual assault and stalking. They find him a reasonable grounds. Okay, let's see. Let's see what this whole thing says. What he did to the victim was incredibly disturbing and unforgivable against unforgivable. Any reasonable human being with the slightest hint of morals would feel sick to their stomachs when they hear the full details. Grand's house is patriotic. Oh god, this is such an essay. Huh. Okay. Because like, there's this whole essay. I don't know if what he says. Carefully. This woman tried and failed to get restraining orders against stalkers. This was not even a restraining order. This was an upgraded version for exceptional cases. Protective order made on basis of sexual assault. Transcript. Transcript will be following soon. Let me. Jeez. Ha. So and here's the thing. According to that, I'm not. I can't say I am defending him because I'm just a tourist. I don't know anything regarding this whole thing. I just know that Pinky filed a lawsuit against Tectone regarding these situations, and he defended himself for this court case. He lost the court case, and he was found that there were reasonable grounds to believe that he committed sexual assault, that he committed stalking. Seeing that Tectone is most likely a psychopath who happens to be schizophrenic, who doesn't take medication. See, these are the bad things. So these are there. I saw pictures regarding that he's known to be schizophrenic. He doesn't take medication for it. I can understand where he's trying. My understanding is that him refusing to take medication for it is a form of control he wants for it. And sure, like if he wants to have control over this schizophrenia, then he has the ability to do so. But he'd be better off with medication to take care of it. He doesn't want to take medication. You can't force a patient to take medication because that's you need consent to do that. And sizable gun collection. I couldn't even pretend to cut ties. The victim was in constant daily fear for her safety. I'm not sure about that. And I wasn't about to make it worse for him by having him become more paranoid, especially since he's constantly threatening to leak videos taken of her without her consent. No, the victim did not do this for clout. Seeing that she has way more followers on Tectone, she also definitely did not do this for money. Seeing that she makes significant more than him too. This would. Is he getting an appeal? Because he said several times he didn't, so I don't know. To leaking documents to his he's going as far as leaking private court documentation to Discord moderators, who then leaked them to the public through his Discord server, which turned dogs to our current residents. I also need to mention that your politics mean less to me than the dirt under my shoe. You're not an American. No green card. No visa. Don't have a political horse in this race because you could. Country means nothing. That was a whole lot. That was a whole lot of documentation. But I do follow Mujin's videos because I like the way he makes. I like the way he makes his documentaries about certain stuff, about topics. I like what he does. That's so much. Hold on, what's this? Court finds there reasonable grounds that Tectone has done that. Believe it's likely the stalking would persist. will pay $15,000. Can not share any photos or videos. Okay. Cannot communicate with Pink. Yeah, that is a huge question to have, though. Yeah, because that's the thing, though, because I don't think he has the ability to appeal like the court decision, because he admits to himself that he has so much dirt on him on Twitter and social media that it would fail if his receipts would fail the appeal anyways. But like I do want the real question that I have along with them is like, how credible is the evidence from Pinky? Because there's credible evidence that Tectone has said enough things to make it warranted for a certain scare, but I don't know. If there was credible evidence, he wouldn't be free. Credible evidence is not enough. Credible enough to not only make the judge decide that stalking was happening, but also that it would only stop through court order. Credibility enough that they added the firearms part. Okay. I mean, that's the thing. Like, okay, if the evidence was credible enough to determine no guns, to determine like this like protective order, sure, great. But then at the same time, like for a civil case, you need just enough, but you don't need undisputable proof. You need just enough proof, not undisputable. Tectone does not have enough proof to defend himself, because he says way too much on Twitter. So that's the background of this whole thing. Anyways, Tectone addresses Mugen.
Talk about Mugen. Alright. So Mugen put out a crazy fucking Google
Yeah, and like it's the Twitter doc is so wild.
doc on me. I'm also going to say I like Mugen. We were very, very, very close friends, best friends actually. He actually officiated my wedding. No, we were very good friends. We broke bread. We lived together for 8 years. Really, really good friends, me and Mugen. Yeah, Mugen's just wrong. Yeah, I don't really get it at all. Is the PowerPoint over? No, it's not over. I have to go over a couple more Google Docs. So real quick, I gotta highlight some things here real quick. So he makes some big claims, and I want you to really take note of this. Okay, what was said by Mugen was on January 29th at 2 a.m. And now, why is that important? Why is it important that Mugen said this on January 29th at 2 a.m.? Mugen made a post saying that he read all of the documentation. Mugen, I really hate to break the news to you, but all of the documentation wasn't available until January 29th at 8 p.m. So how the fuck did you read all of the documentation when it wasn't out until 18 hours later?
18 hours later. Okay,
like, listen,
okay.
Man, I understand you got to save your skin, but you couldn't have read all the documentation because it wasn't out until 18 hours after you typed all that shit. And then you go, and I guess we'll talk about this right now, right? You make this claim. Why did I choose to speak up now? Because protective order court cases are infamously difficult for the victim, especially in the state of Texas. Okay, so, and let's just talk about some numbers here real quick. So this guy says it's incredibly difficult and infamously difficult to get a protective order in Texas. So let me ask you guys a question real quick. Guys, what % of protective orders do you think get granted in Texas? The only reason why he's talking is because protective orders are infamously hard to get. brother, 77% of them are approved.
Wait, while specific real-time approval rate statistics for individual finalized protective orders in Texas and Travis County are not publicly listed, while specific real-time approval rates for individuals finalized protective orders are not listed, Texas court reports that 77% of all applications for a final protective order were approved statewide over the course of 2 years, from 2021 to 2023. Travis County Attorney's Office handles applications for cases involving family violence, dating violence, sexual assault, or stalking, and experienced significant backlog, which later addressed with increased staffing, which were later addressed, and experienced significant backlogs. Okay.
77%. So Mujan, I don't know if you Googled anything for fucking 5 seconds. Clearly not. But dear God, I understand people have to save their skin, but can we not just make up lies as well? Like, come on, man. Like, can we, like, 77? Oh, sorry, 77. I fucked up. 77. Anyways, that shit was cringe. It is what it is. And you know what? Once again, I'm not mad. I don't care. It is what it is. Me and Mujan never talked. It doesn't matter. I had him on a podcast like 3 times because I liked his vibes, and he was the giggler. But it is what it is. I don't mind at all. It is what it is.
Okay, so he doesn't. Here, he doesn't hold any like anything against against Tectone for like making this tweet, but like, hold on, let me see what's going on here. How far back? Okay, cool. Has he made a Twitter tweet since? Oh, duck. Has he made a tweet since that instance? Before and after. Aggressively. Fucking liar! You knew about this for more than a year, but you continue to respond and suspect. Y'all, yeah, you totally didn't say anything because you weren't pretending to be Tectone's friend for safety. What? Wait. What do you mean, nice alt account? Since he couldn't have directly used that in full 9-page comic. Let's see. Okay, he doesn't continue to address it. Let's see. Mike from PA, no one cares about him. So you can't. What do you mean you can't read? You're too. I mean, okay, this is probably true. Like sure, for all intents and purposes, this. I'm not trying to defend them again. I'm just the guy at Costco taking these samples of Twitter news here and there that comes up on my feed. That's probably my fault that my feed is this way. Civil cases still need reasonable doubt to clear, and he got that. Those people deserve to never be online at all and never to be near a girl with their defense of sexual assault and stalking. According to this logic, Johnny Depp didn't prove anything in his case against Amber Heard. Depends on the court. What do you mean depends on the court? The court says that it was like a court victory for him. Civil cases are easily compromised by biased jury, and Texas is known for it. All you need is a jury sims for. Okay, hold on. Are civil cases in Texas biased? Again, I don't take me with a grain of salt because I'm using this with a grain of salt. The concerns about actual or perceived bias exists, stemming primarily from the state's unique method of. Okay. Okay. But that's the thing, though. Like, anyways, ultimately, it's just really wild to see that. Ultimately, everybody sucks. Pinky sucks. Tectone sucks. And I'm just a tourist, right? But this is what I've been noticing in my feeds on YouTube as well, so that's what I'm trying to hear things out. Slimy debate tactic. Protective order gets denied before they even reach the court hearing. And pre-final hearing. So it's way higher. Notice he doesn't deny any of the accusations. He doesn't flat out say, I didn't essay anyone. Only that it's a civil case where you have to prove without a shadow of a doubt essay and stalking happened. Not actually true. You have to be more correct than not. Wait, what is it? Something about like 51%? The 7% is a lie. In classic selection bias, that make 77% of the protective orders that make it to the final hearing are granted. Okay. It's not hard to get a protective order. You can go in simple, unverified statements.
Talk about Mugen.
Ultimately, everything about Tectone has been strange. Things have been strange. And, yeah, that's really... again, I'm just a tourist, but this is something that I've been hearing. This is like been my exposure to it. So again, I'm just a tourist, but I will say that Tectone is essentially something like another Burger King's for me, another McDonald's, another Five Guys. It's he has a lot of good takes, a lot of bad takes, a lot of good things, a lot of bad things. Um, I don't mind hearing him for the bad things. I don't mind my fries in a bag. I don't mind my milkshakes. I have several concerns with the beef options, but like that's just the thing. It's not. It shouldn't be too serious as to like this. Everything here should ultimately not be too serious. But again, that's the internet.